out of that, for example, okay, 13,000 square meter, and you buy 2,000 square meter, right? So you want to title that 2,000 square meter on your name. So that's why you're gonna going through all the process, right?
Yes.
So that you will be out on the 13,000 square meter, 13,000 hectares,
You
right?
will be separate from.
Yes, and you have your own title in your name.
Right, let me
Do you understand now?
Yeah, well, so far I understand that when you go to buy something and they say that there's a title, you might not know that you are buying a portion of a larger piece of land.
Yes.
You haven't. I haven't got that from you. I've worked that out for myself because, like I said at the beginning, do one thing at a time. Just a piece of land that is free of all encumbrance and has a title. So you go there and you have one piece of land and it's just 1,000 square meters. What happens then? No other family, no dead people, nobody else to go to. It's free and clear, absolutely, totally ready to go.
Then you're gonna pay for the capital gain tax. You're going to the BIR.
Why do you pay the capital gains tax?
Because that's a tax in the government. You know?
But why do you have to pay it as the buyer?
There are other instances that it's the seller, but depending on how you're going to negotiate before the land being bought.
Okay, so you found your piece of land. It has a clear title. Now you have to negotiate with the seller whether he is going to pay the tax or whether you are.
Yes, but mostly it's the buyer that do the capital gain tax.
Okay.
And the reasons why you're gonna pay the capital gain tax, because that's the share on the government, that where the land is belong,
I
right?
think most of us understand the idea of
Everybody,
paying tax
you know,
on something.
in this world, the first thing that you're gonna buy, the first thing that only is gonna existing is paying tax, right? So now you understand. So
I
you're gonna.
I understood before, but it's taken a little bit of time.
So now, as long as there's no problem on the paperwork, you know, then you're gonna pay to the capital gain tax
you
to the
pay a
BIR.
capital gains tax. Are you now ready to change it over to your name?
Not yet. You're still gonna go to another department,
What's next?
which is the Department of Agrarian.
Agrarian.
You know, and then
And what
another
happens
paperwork. They're gonna, what do you call that? Gonna do the another paperwork if there's no improvement on the land.
So they're going to look at whether the land has been improved from the last owner.
Yes, and the other owners of those the whole lot, you know, out of those
No, we're talking.
mother title.
No, in this case, first things first, darling.
I don't
First
get
things.
it.
First things. This you're explaining to me, and I'm trying to get it. First things first. You found a plot of land. It's a free title. You've paid the capital gains tax. There's no other people. There are no other lots. It's a tiny little lot to put a house on. So, after you've paid the capital gains tax, what's the other department?
Department of Agrarian.
And that department is going to ask what?
Paperwork's about if there's no land improvement.
Alright, so let's say that there's no land improvement.
Then you're gonna publish it in the newspaper.
And what do you put in the newspaper?
That this is the owner and
You are the new owner?
this is, yeah, and then this is the lot. If there's no other that will what do you call that will say no, it's not yours. In other words, kind of against it.
Oh, so it's a little bit like a wedding.
Yeah,
If
like a wedding. Yeah.
If anyone present has any reason why these two should not be joined,
Yeah, something like that.
let them speak now or forever hold
So
their peace.
it will be published in the newspaper, local newspaper. You know?
Well, that's really interesting because I don't think I've seen more than 2 newspapers since I got to the Philippines.
And then after that is the register of deeds.
So after that, the Register of Deeds.
Which I don't know yet about the process there. Because
So that we don't know yet.
yeah.
Incidentally, we're going through this.
But
you put your elbow down.
yes.
It looks like I've got it in my eye. So yet. So when we find out about that, then we can.
But as far as I understand, you know, as what as what I understand is, if you buy a land in the Philippines, you know, you make sure that the land is not a lot. You know, it's easy process. It's easy process to buy a land and transfer it to your name if the owner has not a lot of debts involved. Like for example, the children's, the owners, you know, the heirs, you know, on that land.
I'm hearing debt,
Yeah.
but you're
The heirs.
saying death.
Okay, death.
Death.
As in died.
What? Now, here's what foreigners will find very difficult to understand. What the hell has it got to do with them as a seller? The buyer has children who have died.
Because, you know, for example, because as far as I understand, those children are the heirs of the owner, right? For example, the real owner, and then that real owner is not being transferred yet. In other words, the land is not being transferred to all their children, only the subdivided. And then when you bought something, when you bought out of those dead years, you know, there's somebody died, then it's kind of complicated, you know.
You could say that.
That's how I understand.
So,
you know, it's complicated, you know. And then the other thing that you need to consider is, you know, kind of, what do you call that? It's better if you, that's how I understand. Yeah, it's complicated. But make sure that before you buy land in the Philippines, make sure that you understand and go to the main source. Is it easy process? Because, you know, when you do the processing on the land, it's hassle.
it's
You know?
what?
It's hassle.
Hassle. No kidding. I never understood.
And it's not
that
just
part.
about hassle, it's also expenses. Expensive.
Just to give you an idea, what I can tell you, this morning, we've had to have a letter drafted because of an inquiry about details of other people who were on the title of the land that we bought, which was also part of subdivided land. So we bought the larger part, and there are 5 other people that bought enough lots to build a house on and have a space around. So that's what we've been doing today. And that letter and the services that had to be provided for that letter cost 2,500. Now, if you're going to sit there with your calculator and work out how much that cost in dollars and tell me that it's cheap, don't. Because we're in the Philippines and we deal in pesos. So the fact that something might only cost $5 to you is of no importance or relevance to us because we're in pesos.